Right, is it working? Is it working? I jolly well hope so, because I've done loads of prep today. I've been really busy making bait, doing stuff on the fishery, and it's almost impossible that I can't do a live feed without the comments. So, some people are dropping in. Can somebody just try and give me a comment, and then I'll know if it's working or not. I do deeply apologise, but it is pretty pathetic, isn't it? Comments will appear here. Nothing's appearing. Oh dear me. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press on. I'm sorry, I can't see any comments, so I can't answer any questions. So you're going to hear me burble away about various things. So to kick things off, we all love a freebie, we all love a prize. And this is a little bit different tonight. We're over on the main Pallatrax page, so we're not on the team page, because we're on the team page every other week, main Pallatrax page. So let me show you. Not many people here now, they've probably given up. So the first little thing, which will be, I'll tell you during the show, and then it will be drawn later on, as long as Tinny gets back. If Tinny doesn't get back in time, I have no clue. She'll use a roulette wheel. So what I'll do is, if she's not back, I'll post the winner later on. So let's see what we're going to be in for a shout. Now, all you've got to do, apparently, is go on to where you would send a message to Pallatrax Facebook page. I think that's right. And then just say yes if you want to be entered into this free draw. So little bit different this evening. Let me turn it round. There we go. So there we go. We've got a brand new set of hangers there in a nice little presentation box. Couple of packets of our wonderful grips, and these are just some catfish rigs I actually tied for myself. I found them in a drawer. They're not on the new catfish hook, they're on the Eagle Wave. This is on the size 2 wide gape, and that's on the size 2 straight point. So that is the gift from Pom this evening. So hang on a second, I'm having there we go, right, we're rocking and rolling. Good old thing. Right, so where am I? Let me see. I tried to argue for say it was a success. Steve, honestly, so anyhow, so ping through yes to the main Pallatrax Facebook page to be in a chance for winning that. All right? So, right, let me come back. It's really weird because everything's different. It's all slow on there. So, there's loads of people saying good evening, and I do deeply apologise, and I'm sure you'll all give me some grief. Who's that in hospital? Where was that? Oh, Anthony. Oh, I hope you're all right, mate. Safe getting out. My dad's in there at the moment. Horrible place. I hope for a speedy recovery. So loads of people have said hello. So right, let me go. So somebody said I'm always challenged, you know, because I've kind of, you can imagine, I've been parachuting in this industry. It's an old story. If you know me, you know about it. And all I've wanted to do, with no arrogance, is, you know, find the best products and do the best I can. And so obviously the LQ rig, and somebody here said, oh, Steve Ellis got some news, tried the LQ rig for the first time on Tuesday. Safe to say it was a success. I just so believe in it. I mean, you know, it's about where I come from, and most team members probably will know this now, but it's all about consistency. It's a bit like the match angler, a good match angler, and I suppose they're the people that kind of put themselves out to be good, don't they? They go to prove a point, they go to win matches, etc., etc. So I've always had that in my head, whatever species I fish for. So and therefore I fish very differently than the modern narrative. I really do. So if you look at how I fish, and that's what I'm going to talk about tonight, some of the things that I definitely know make a difference. All right. So, let me go on. So Steve, all I can say is I swear about that rig. You know, there's no hidden agenda. Sorry, you'll have to bear with me. Sue, how you doing? Paul, John Dorabello, not long to our team fishing in France. Heart attack. Oh my God, Anthony, you stay safe, mate, and hopefully you get out there really, really quickly. That's not good. I have a best ever session last week, resulting in 22 carp landing in 4 nights and only losing 2 fish. 5-star products. I hope they're our products. Well done, James. That's a proper session. Hi, Neil. Can't wait to have a look and try those catfish rigs. Currently looking at a water with £60 plus just outside CNS. Well, we'll talk about those. I'll go a bit more different. Richard, Neil, happy Mother's Day. Yes. Right, I think I'm up to date now. Beanie, great to have you down. Thanks ever so much for the work party. Keith, Beanie and Steve, who came down last week, and along with Mr. Young Matt, my fishery manager down here. So big thank you for all the work you're doing. So Steve's saying a £22 mirror on my first trip out in 6 months due to surgery. Top job, Steve. Well done, mate. That's what it's all about. I bet you were just desperate to get on those banks, and obviously banking one as well. That's all good stuff. Paul Woods. Right, I'm just going to go back now. There's even more people on the post. I'm just going to show you what tonight's prize is, and I can get it out of the way. So tonight's prize, and all you've got to do is send yes through to the Pallatrax messenger page, and brand new set of hangers in a nice little presentation box, some of our wonderful revolutionary straight point grips, and some catfish hooks that are tied on the £60 steam link, but these are ones I tied, and I never got around to going fishing, to be quite honest, and now I'm going to be field testing the brand new catfish, which is what I shall go and speak about first. So let me just come round, let me move that off. I will prompt again later during tonight's show. Neil Rudd, Andre all the way from Slovakia. I want to come fishing over there, Andre. James D, size 6 and size 8 grips on a solid bag, top man. Like, again, it's always going to be difficult, and I suppose forever until I curl my toes, I shall almost be apologetic, because it probably does. I'm Mr. Cynical Simon, you know. I'm gushing about the products or whatever, you know, in the vain hope I'm going to sell some stuff. That's not what it's about. It never has been about. I'm just very fortunate, I guess, to be in this position. And, you know, I come from that era which doesn't fit in with the modern era at all. And it's not controversial. Some deem it to be. And so I basically fish the way I want. You know, I want bait to a certain quality, so I'm going to make it myself, etc., etc. So anyway, what we'll do first of all, let me just check if Tony, did I say? Hi, Simon from Dad in Hospital. Yeah, my poor old dad's in hospital. Hi, Mr. Pom. Hope you're getting a lot better and we get you out soon, get you home. So, I think I'm up to get. So, right. All over the place as always. Nothing changes for Pom. So, what I'm going to do is show you just something that the team are already aware of it. You know, team gets to see a lot of stuff, you know, as we go along. But I got involved. Obviously, we had a catfish hook, which is the standard Eagle Wave. But I got involved with Simon, who owns Top Cats, which is a venue and a half, if you ever get a chance to go to Thailand. Incredible water. We caught so many fish there. But he was struggling, as was a lot of the other fisheries. I was speaking to Richard Gibson at John Wilson's old fishery. It's still called John Wilson's fishery in mainland Thailand. And again, they can't find a bespoke hook. Something that, you know, is actually been designed specifically for the multi-species they've got. That's strong enough, that's sharp enough, and things like that. And obviously, they love the concept of the grips from a fishery management point of view. The fact is, they stay, you know, strong so long for us as anglers. And the first package has gone out to Simon and Tadpole, the guide who's she's out there using them, and I am getting good results, as in, like, I'm getting what I expected from the design. So if I show you, and what my mentality with it is, basically it's not a 1 and it's not a size 2. It's basically a 0, if such a thing exists in 0, because I've designed this from scratch. So Japanese manufacturing, on with the grips, and basically, in many ways, it's a beefed up version of my Y-gape, but with a very, 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 I'm useless with all this, but basically it's got the grips behind there, grips grooves, in-turn beak, mega strong, mega sharp. Not a lot of people know, but if you've got a cutting point, the cutting point technology, the process, it's manufacturing, it's you then end up, if you buy when you're getting the manufactured for you, that cutting point, which, as I say, is very expensive. It's designed to be the sharpest hook out of the packet and also the most durable. And that's why I'm getting back straight away from Top Cats. They're really effective from the off. I mean, and this is the rig. We've got some people field testing it. I won't bring it to market until I'm 100%. And in all honesty, I'm very happy already. But let me just turn the camera around. And you can see, and like I say, this will work on Wells catfish. This will work for some people. Will probably even fish for carp with it, especially in some of the Euro situations. But how we'll be testing it? Let me just whack this round. So it's basically the LQ rig in a beefed up version. So you've still got the serious shrink kicker. You've got the strip there, so you end up with this boom. Which, to be fair, you don't get many hook link materials that will do that. And this is the reason, of course, I'm not a fish, but it turns every time. And it's really, really, really sharp because of that cutting point. So we'll be using that when we go back to Thailand. I'm taking it to La Quay next week to have a go for the catfish there. And yeah, so there you go. But these will all be field tested now. And like I say, you can just see how quickly it turns. I mean, I think it's going to be... Well, like I say, you know, the reports we've already got from Top Cats are phenomenal. So, and that's where I'm lucky. You know, I don't have to just buy off the shelf. I want to innovate. I want to bring out a new hook design. This is designed. They were using all different kinds of hooks from different brands. And to be fair, they were being let down by a lot of them. The wire just was not strong enough. You know, when you got, you know, £450 Mekong, you need a proper hook and a proper hook link. So... Okay, it's not the biggest market. It's a little bit of indulgence for me because of me getting involved in all the folks over in Thailand. But I think, yeah, we'll see some good results on that. So that's why I designed it. It's all to do with going over there, meeting Simon, realising that the problem he was having hooks. So I came away and put my thinking cap on, and here I go. Right, let me just see, because I will have missed Mr. Shaw. Hang on a second. Where are we going? Going back. I missed a few. My dad, your old school pom, yeah, too right. I'm very old, I know that. Hoping to get out towards the end of the month. That's Anthony, depending on weather, and get out to try the grips. Like I say, I don't want to appear contrived, but you know, appreciate they are a third design. You know, there's barbed, and that's the design, and there's loads of patterns within barbed. Same with barbless, and now the same with grips. It's the third design, and personally, from a fishery management point of view, because I own my own fisheries and want to protect the mouth of my fish, etc., etc., I'm immensely happy. I mean, we were talking the other day with Steve and Keith and Beanie were fishing the lakes on the work party, and the fact is it just comes out and the hole is so small that it immediately closes over, so you're not getting this damage, and the hooks just hold in. That grips. I know it's tiny, but it's incredible how that will hold in. So I'm thinking you're gonna like. I'd be very, very surprised. I mean, thousands of people now have converted to grips. Lots of people don't like barbless anyway because of the confidence angle, I suppose, and the fact is they potentially can jump in the mouth and things like that. So I'm sure you'll love it. Good evening from Wayne Tester, one of the old crew. What soft link are you using for method bag fishing? Well, the method fishing, I mean, to be quite honest, there's two ways, and I'm going to show you those in a minute, so please bear with me. There's two ways that I approach my method, and most people will know that if you've seen me fish or been to the fishery or whatever, or hear me rabbit on before. People talk about method fishing, and I've had people say to me, I've tried it, didn't catch anything, didn't work. And it's like, if you look at the match scene, it's in some fisheries actually ban it because it's so prolific, but only if you use good ingredients. So when people say to me, I've tried the method's the tactic. It's not the ingredients. The same with PVA bags. When people say, oh, my go-to tactic is PVA bags, which is fine, but the thing that makes the difference is what's in the bag and what is, for example, your pellet made of. What is your ground bait? What are your boilies and things like that? So, because I'm so long in the tooth now with fishery management, it's all about water quality, but also I want to catch a lot of fish. So I want to produce products the best I can that are going to instigate the bite, get me to catch fish, be healthy, get the weight gain. I mean, a perfect scenario. So there we go. Right, hang on a sec. I'm just missing some. Those hooks look sexy. Better late than never, Stephen. Vince, all the way from Canada. I think I'm up to date. Sorry, Rich Shaw. Did I say hello to Rich? Hope you're all right, mate. Right, so done the catfish. I'm just going to pop back round. So anybody who hasn't entered, and all you've got to do is send yes to the main Pallatrax page, messenger page on Facebook, not the team page if any team members are doing that. So this is a chance to win, free of charge, one person will win some of my catfish rigs. I've tied with my own little pinkies, a 4-set hanger set, and some of our wonderful, as we've been talking, revolutionary, the third design grips. So one of you fine people will win that this evening. It's a random draw, and like I say, I might have to come back later with who's won it, because if Tinny's not here, there's no way on this earth that I'm going to be able to do that. So, right. Within solid bags, I'm having a little play using strip steam link. The Dyneema inner braid is extremely strong and supple. All I would say, a bit of a caution there, again, owning fisheries and seeing mouth damage. If your braid is too fine, and it's not got a kicker or anything like that. That's what I love about steam link and like the coated hook links. Very, 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 very rarely do you get the cheese wire. And you know when you see a fish that's like that, that's probably not the best look you've seen tonight. That's what basically where this fine braids go in. They cut, and then they get caught again, and they cut again. They never get a chance to heal, and when they do heal, you get this parrot mouth. So just be aware whenever you are using very, very fine hook loop material. Yeah, so, and because it is really strong, as you say, but it's also really fine. But hopefully it'll do the trick, because I do know other people actually do use it. So there we go. Right, so I'm just going to say a couple of things, especially this time of year, and you know, wonderful. The sunshine today, I make feel so much happier. But during the winter, as you may well know, fish, due to the water temperatures, become moribund, so they don't move around a lot, they don't need to eat a lot. So I've always been of that, and because of the summer stuff, especially I've done down here in the new fishery, but my old fishery was these boosted hook baits. And I know I've talked about this before, but I just want to go through why. Like I say, when it comes to anything, I've always developed it for myself. If people want to engage with it, that's fantastic, you know, but at the end of the day, I've done these things for myself, and that sounds really, really indulgent, but it's not, I promise. I'm just in that position, and I've got a mind that never stops whirling. Mr. Kelly, you beautiful man, didn't think you were going to be there. Not long now, Scouse, we're out to France, so looking forward to that, dude. So yeah, going back to what I'm rabbiting on about is, and again, I just want to show you these, but really, really explain why. Because team members, lots of Team Pallatrax members, and that's a free to join, fun, nice club, you know, community. Just go on the Pallatrax website, you can join from there. But we talk a lot about this on there, and you know, so what I've done, because I've fished on these for donkey's years, to be fair, and it's almost like, why didn't I do it before? You know, that happens sometimes. I get carried away. So what I'm looking for, to be fair, I bling my baits all year round. And the reason is because I'm trying to get it to stand out, shout out, and the fish find it quicker. Okay, then it's down to the fish. Is it going to pick my bait up? Because it's not going to eat it, because it's on the hair. But my freebies are all food, so whatever I put out. But my hook bait, and I'm not saying this happens every day, because the thing is, you can look at it and say, excuse me, you could look at it and say, the fish, you know, recognise that one potentially as dangerous because it's the one that stands out. I mean, I think any fish can recognise anything man-made. Just because you've got a food content doesn't mean they won't be suspicious of it. But let me just show you what these are. So they're the hardened hook baits, but they're not a hardened hook bait as in like that's the only reason. They're actually, as it says, super boosted hardened, and this is one in Fruity Plum Glow. And what I found is different flavours are like different flies. So instead of just having one or two baits, I've got several of these different flavours. The wild crab, again, stormed it down here last week. That's M-butyric acid and things like that. These are good. One of the team members sent me these. So what they are, they're basically left maturing in that. That's a food-based yellow sea mix blank as such. As you can see, hopefully, everyone is individually drilled because it is a pain, because you get mucky, but more so because there's a natural sugar content in there. The benefit, and it was, by default, was that they go really, really hard. And so when you're up, like next week, when we go to the week after next, we go to Le Quay, I know that is going to withstand the attention of the poisson chat and things like that, because they will nibble and nibble and nibble your bait to nothing. So with this, it takes a long time to nibble away with those. But the main thing is, what I'm doing is I'm actually just sending out a signal to the fish's olfactory system, which is how it basically smells on the water, for want of a better expression. So I've got something really stinky, and I can change the flavours, like I would change the fly, like the match angler would change, from have a plethora of different baits, from maggots to pulses to worms to cheese to lunch. It goes on forever. In carp fishing especially, and to really some other areas of fishing, barbel fishing as well, the thing to do is really change the flavour, in my humble opinion. It's not changing the rig. My rig works. I've caught loads and loads of fish on it. So that is the reason they come to kind of fruition, but it's all about blinging that bait out and getting it out to the fish's olfactory so they find it quickly. Yes, then they're up against the choice. Will they pick it up? Will my rig work? And because I work with that consistency, as I mentioned before, I mean, I no longer, I know that I look incredibly young, but I'm actually 57 now. I know, shock horror, it's awful. But like I said, I don't change my rig. Been doing it for so long. I don't change my rig when I'm fly fishing or my sea fishing or my lure fishing. I always change the bait. And hence that's why all these products are being developed. So that is why I fish glugged blinged hook baits. And if you can imagine the best way, and ironically, it's certainly not food source, but the most prolific way I've caught it, like in time and motion, the amount of time I've spent doing it to the amount of fish I've caught, has been when I fly fish and I use a cork ball which is soaked in flavour, and if I get no reaction from the fish on that flavour, I'll then go to another flavour. And if you think about it, that's all we're doing on the bottom. So there you go. It's food for thought, because I've seen people, having had two shops, people will come in and say, oh, I want 30 kilos for next month, or 10 kilos, whatever they want, but they only have one bait. And no other area of fishing, as I stress time and time again to team members, do you do some of the modern things, fish slack lines, there's loads of things that really don't make sense to me as an old school angler. It's all about bite detection. It's all about good bait that's got a food content. So we know not only are the freebies we're putting out there food, but the matching bait is also a food source. And the thing is with these as well, because you can bung them out, it's almost like an everlasting hook bait. These will take ages, to kind of break down completely. So you can just pop them back in. That's all I do. At the end of the day, it's the same, I suppose, with like a fly or a lure. It's there to be used again. And it's really, really powerful gear. It's all properly regulated fish friendly dyes and things like that. Right, let me go back here. Good evening, beautiful people. That was from Scouse. Was the best day we've had this year. I know, it's gorgeous, wasn't it? We've had the work party. I've had some folks on Jack's Pool this weekend, and it's been miserable. And today it's just glorious. I actually wanted to walk around the lakes and have a butcher's. So you can't wait to catch up with everything. Yeah, Mark, how you doing? Neil's saying I always want my hook baits to move attractive than the rest. So yeah, I mean, like I say, sometimes I sit there and think, is it the one standing out? And so therefore I'm not matching the hatch with the freebies, but then I've caught so many fish on and seen stuff underwater footage and things like that, when many a time a fish will just literally, and whether it's through vision, whether it's through the olfactory system, whatever. I mean, obviously in gene clear conditions, it's not going to see anything, but the fact is that they motor straight for that blinged bait, and then obviously you're in the lap of the gods in many ways. Like I say, the rigs are so important. They're the trap, and if you don't have that consistent trap, and I think that is one of the main problems we've got in carp fishing. Carp will pick up, barbel will pick up, tench will pick up, etc., etc. But if your rig is not a consistent rig, you're always going to be up against it, because you'll be getting done time and time again. And check out the fishing. Galen has done loads of fishing on the team, underwater filming for the team page. Look at underfishing, the group over in Holland that are doing loads of it. Watch those fish. Don't think about anything else. Watch those fish. How many times though there's so many different rigs they're using, and how many times they don't get nailed. That is something that I've learned. Yeah, no, it is good stuff, Neil. I promise you, and I've always done it. You know, soaked hook baits, and I want them to. You know, like when I use a pop up, I get the booster spray, put it in a little bag, and that's really it's not neat, but because it's got some water, because I want water to go in the baits, so to be sucked in, and oil won't. It will sit on the outside, and so yeah, I do like just to have that option is well, it's startling. And like I say, this week the guys were down fishing on the stone system, put on the wild crab, which proper pongs, you know, not, you really don't want to, you know, you really want to wear some gloves when you put it on. It's got no butyric acid and you know, like I say, and it just stands out. And as soon as they went on to, you know, in pretty grim conditions, to be fair, they went on, and I'm convinced as the fishery owner and knowing the fish and knowing where they came from, they're sat there, but suddenly you're putting something close to them which they're just reacting to. That's my theory. It stands up to a lot of scrutiny, to be fair, but we'll never know because you can't see them unless we catch them off the surface. But right, James is saying booster hook baits dipped in powder and traxons gives off a hell of a lot of food signals, and that's the thing, you know, you want to give off food signals. You don't want to be fishing on a bait, putting out bait, freebies that aren't food. And unfortunately, there is, don't get me wrong, there's loads of good bait companies out there, but I actually don't. I don't make angling bait. If you know what I'm about, it's all about making bait to a standard, because it's like having pedigree dogs, and I want them to be fed the best, but also I want the air they live in, so the water, I want that not to be contaminated. So it's kind of a win-win the way I work. So I'm not, you know, making bait. I'm making a biomass food source that if we use it as a bait, we're laughing, to be quite honest, in many ways. But you can catch on a cork ball or a bit of plastic sweet corn. So I do appreciate, you know, there's lots of other things going on. Is it true that salt is good for baits? Well, I don't use it. I think what we've got to be careful of, and I can't say whether it is good or not because I haven't researched it. And I think that's what we need to do with lots of things in modern fishing. We need to not just go, because somebody said salt's good or salt's bad. You need to go past that, not accept that. So like question everything, assume nothing, and find out. Now, obviously, if you look at salt, you know, you can look at other animals, how they gravitate to salt, and sugars. Sugar is an attractant, we know that. It certainly is something I use incorporated with baits, but I'm not one to overload with salt at all. I don't use it at all. So if it's good, you know, I would just say go past a lot of the things. Like say, there's a lot of acceptance with no research. So some will go say it's good, some will say it's bad, but I would go beyond what people are telling me and actually research it, and I never have. So that's just me. But some people swear by it and others don't. And then you've got to think of what levels you would use. You know, when I'm making all my baits, I've got set levels that I've worked out over the years. So how much salt should you use? I mean, I know people put out almost like spom out salt. I won't let that happen in my water. If you put in pounds of salt in your swim, it's, you know, when you've got a fishery, you only want to allow stuff that's going in there that's going to be a positive, to be quite honest. And it certainly wouldn't be, in my humble opinion, a positive to put loads of salt into mine. Bring back monkey climbers, you're so true. A little, not a lot, has changed his pH levels around your bait. Yeah, it can do. It certainly can do. Where's, oh no, I've pressed the wrong button. Stand by your beds. Neil Thompson, I tie up 6-8 PVA bag, different baits on the combined different baits that I know that work for me. And exactly, because I say we've ended up where have we ended up? We've ended up with a narrative that, you know, I saw a very, very well known angler, influential angler, shall I say, saying, you know, you never need to use anything other than Company X's one bait. And that's fundamentally flawed. And if we're telling anglers that's the way to fish, just look at every other area of fishing. Just look at every other fish. It's miles apart. So, right, I'm going to now go to my demo, because it carries on. Oh, no, I can't put that now. I'll run out of table now. That's the prize. So I'll pop that over there. The bigger tank. Right, so a lot of people say to me about this, I go bang on about the olfactory system. So if you study fish biology, which I would encourage you to do, then you'll realise the importance of a good bait, your importance of, being intrusive instead of, not believing the narrative that if you paint a leg green, the fish can't see it, which is absolutely drivel. It's about what a fish senses, not what we see and then assume. So people ask me, how and why do I use the exploding ground bait? So I'm just going to go through a little bit of step by step. I've got a couple of tanks here to show you how you can make your ground bait really, really move. Now, it's almost like throwing petrol on the fire. You're looking for that roar of attraction and getting out. And if you put, especially in cold water, if you put, when everything's slow as well, so there's no small fish nibbling away or other things going on within the water's course, you're just going to sit there with a sterile, something that's not really, you're not getting the best out of. And so if it's not made of food, we'll never give off a food signal. And that's why I always emphasise, do check what's on the packet. Do make sure it's actually something designed for fish. That, if you're using something just because you assume it's going to be good, I would always go past that and say, is it actually good? Ring up the manufacturer. Anybody could ring me up. That's the way of the game. So, again, let me whack this round, and there's two ways that I do this, and one of them is actually going to be brand new, because I have to confess that I have used amongst my fishing, dog biscuits for float fishing. I love float fishing, I love surface fishing. It's such an exciting way of catching. Right, so going back to what I was saying about the method, it's all about what it's made of. And all I can say is that is pure fish food. It is Daphne maggot crush. So it's got Daphne maggot, and they're dry. So it will irritate the mix to some extent, but nowhere near enough of what I want it to do. So there's two ways I can do it. And I'm going to make two mixes up here and show you. Because you can guarantee that now I've cut the wrong bit off on my bag. I had a 50-50 chance of getting that right, and I got it wrong. Stand by. Right, if I've got any coming up to read your questions in a second, folks. I see there's a few dropped in. So this is my favourite. We did a carp crush as well, but like I say, forget it's called method mix or ground bait or whatever. Think about what it's made of. That's the thing that a lot of people haven't done, and I think that is changing. It's certainly changing for a lot of the people on the team. They're going, well, yeah, I never thought what it could be made of. I just assumed it was going to work. And the dangers of assumption. So, what I do use, and we'll put on the first one, and I'll answer the questions, is Gamma shrimp. Now, Gamma shrimp is basically a format of shrimp. It's a European shrimp, but to be quite honest, it's exactly the same shrimp as what we've got on our shores. But it does come in to be one of the biggest places that produces it is Russia. And obviously with all the conflict over there, it's been a bit of a challenge to get hold of good quality. Now, the reason I use this is, and I'll put it in, again, talking about amounts, I can basically decide on how quickly I want this to break down. So if I don't want it to break down, I wouldn't put Gamma shrimp in it. I might put some of the powders because they're totally different. But so if I want to make that mix explode, this is the way to do it. And let me just get a bit of water. So when you're making up a method mix, well, certainly my method mixes, you just want to make it up slowly. Match anglers take time to make up it's all about time. It's all in the prep. And then when they've got their 6 or 8 hour match, all they are focused on is bites. They're not, they're not thinking, I better make up a bit of this. Many of them make it up the night before. They do all kinds of weird and wonderful things in the match scene. But that's because it's such a good way of fishing. It's by being prepped, having everything to go, knowing the most important things. So I'm going to put this one around a rig, and then we can hopefully see once I've got the mix right. And what you tend to do with my mixes, or I tend to do, is I'll make them up and I'll leave them for about 10 minutes. Because if you can imagine a a particle, it still takes whatever size it is. There'll still be an element of time for it to ingress. Obviously, the bigger the particle, the longer it takes, and with warm water, that'll actually, it will make it happen even quicker. So, am I happy? Yeah, I'm getting there. Right. Oh, we have a live feed winner. So we should be doing that as well, because my son Charlie, who's obviously technically savvy, he knows how to do it. Right, so here we go. So we were talking earlier about what rig would I use, and there's a couple of rigs. There's only 2 rigs I use. Other than the river, sometimes I use a fluorocarbon rig. But and don't get me wrong, if you were fishing next to me and you were catching on a fluorocarbon rig, so anybody that knows me knows I fish the running stone system, small buffer bead, up to, this is a little braid rig, little on toxic, couple of pop-ups there. So what we'll do is, all you've got to do is lay. Now what I'm going to do, just for the sake of this demo, is I'm not going to really squeeze this on, but I would actually really, because I just want you to see what happens, I would really be squeezing that on. And then what I do, because it's a braid rig, I always have a bit of anti-tangle foam there, and I tend to push, lots of people do, they actually push this all back into the bait. So personally, I like it hanging out the bottom. So that's how I would send that out. So if you think about it, because I'm using a stone as a method feeder, I'll just break down, yes, there'll be a stone next to my bait, but this is all food. And what we're going to use in the skeleton, if you really drill down into the skeleton of all these critters and insects and things like that, the air content in that will basically cause it to explode. And so if I put a load in there, it will really explode. But let's just leave, we'll put this one in. And like I say, it's going to give a slightly false reading because I haven't really poked it through. But I know a lot of people here already would have seen this before. But what I really want to do is explain why this is so incredibly effective. And I can promise you the main thing is it's all about the ingredients. So if everything in there is of food and it's doing that, you could just see, yes, it's a tank, yes, it's not real. I know that, I appreciate that. But what we'll do is we'll just leave that there while I go back to the questions, because I've missed some here. Right, that's got to go there. Oh, gonna have to have a wee sip of my rum and coke, folks. Stand by. My guilty pleasure on a Sunday. Right, so let's have a look who I've missed. I do apologise because I'm. Oh, what's that? I will watch that palm. James is saying rock salt is using quite a bit with feeds around breeding season. It helps put certain minerals back into their body. Like I say, don't know, haven't made a proper study of it. Neil saying I'm in the process of making some homemade ones. I have all the material, just time I need. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Evening, Mark. How you doing? Oh, he had a cracking weekend celebrating my granddad's 100th. Did he get the old thing from the King now? It'll be free from the King for your 100th birthday. He even had some lads up from the Irish Guards to see him. He served in the Irish Guards in World War II. Be back on the bank hopefully next week. Oh, we'll pass our huge congratulations to your granddad. Yes, Steve, as Steve is saying, gamma shrimp really activates. But there is another way you can do this. We're talking about the live feed competition. People are saying hello to Sue, my marketing director. Hello, Sue, all the way up in Durham. Sue's been down here with us this week. It's been awesome. I think I'm getting it. Hang on, Mick Cocker. Hi, Simon. With you fishing or running stones without tubing, do you get any fish? Well, you hit, and I'm going to actually come round for this to emphasise. Right. If you think about all areas of fishing, it's only carp fishing, really, nowadays, that asks for any tubing. Okay? And that's fine. If that's what the fishery wants to do and things like that. But what I would just caution Now, if you're pinging scales, of course you shouldn't do it. And I've actually, for the first year for my fish, you had to fish tubing here because you're taking them out of fish farming situation and you want them to harden and things like that. But what I would say is it's actually anti-tangle tubing. It was not ever bought out for what we're now, I suppose, for fish safety. It's kind of a bolt-on, and if people think they should be using it. But all I say is all other areas of fishing. So I'm fishing for tench or barbel. I don't fish tubing, so I've never had a problem with, you know, with scales pinging off. So now I've allowed people, as I fish naked. But obviously, if it's in the rules, you've got to do it. But what I would caution, because there's other ways now I can cast without tangling, you know, especially with the method mix, you know, I never tangle with that because it's all, the hook can't go back beyond. So with this little rig here, if I was to cast out naked, not me obviously, but naked, just a stone and just a small braid rig, the likelihood it would tangle. But it's so efficient, so I do use that. But going back to tubing, of course, if you feel there's a need for it, and the rules are, personally, like I say, I just look at all other areas of fishing I do. I don't put tubing on any other thing. But obviously, if people are comfortable with it, I suppose from an angling perspective, what you've got to do is realise all you are doing is increasing the diameter of your line to, you know, 0.70 or something like that, whatever, you know, diameter your tubing is, and you know, again, going back to a fish, you know, what you can see, they can sense. So hence why the match angler scales down their lines, don't they? So food for thought. I haven't got a problem. If I saw now a problem in my lakes, because I've got some really scaly beasts here, I would, to be fair, you know, make it a rule, but it isn't. Oh, you've just missed the best bit of my method mix. It's just like completely exploded. And so, again, if you can see there, obviously, there's my two little pop-ups. And these are the 10mm square pop-ups. I've caught a lot of fish, big fish as well on this rig. But in my humble opinion, that they will be picking that up regardless, because they're in there on that lump of food. And obviously now, next to my hook bait, I no longer have a lump of lead. Obviously that's toxic and one thing and another, but it's the fact it's man-made. If you can see it, they can sense it. If I've got a great big method feeder there, or a great big lead, or anything man-made, they have the ability, especially in my humble opinion, the wily ones, the big ones, the ones that never get caught. So to catch them, we've got to be doing something different. So that is now sat in a pile of food, and you can see all of this stuff, and this will really filter off around the lake. This really will. It'll get caught in the undertow. Then you'll have little fish come in there and smash it, and that will engage and, you know, regenerate it again. Oh, it's not. Oh, there you go. Let me try and zoom in a bit more. So hopefully you can see that. So let me just check. Have I missed anything here? Robert, how you doing? Hope you had a great intercomp. Sorry, right. Yeah, Robert, hope you had a great time with your brother. Robert goes fishing with his brother, which is brilliant. Hope you naked if rules permit for me. Well, like I say, if you know, all I would say, Steve, is, you know, I've never damaged, and and if people have, it'd probably be bad luck. I mean, mouth damage is obviously the biggest concern for me, but it's all about, well, you're an ex-match angler, so you know, fine down, scale down. Hi Daniel, how you doing? Will you have to use tubing on all my club waters? Yeah, fine. Like I said, did you say squid pop-up? No, John, that is a squab pop-up, the little pillow-shaped ones we do, the anti-eject ones. Steve saying, fish venues that stipulate tubing, but not for floater fishing or zigs. Yeah, again, you know, I'm really with you there, Steve, because if you look at the potential of, you know, a fish rolling on a long zig, then, yeah, it's... Mr. Sayer, Jamie's been out here today, working away, making jungle with me. So, right, so that was the first way to show. Still a few people here, so I'll still go on. There's loads of stuff I haven't discussed. But what I'll show you, and I haven't done this, all right, so this could go horribly wrong. I'm pretty damn sure it won't, but that's been said before, isn't it? Right, let me just I'll have to do it in here. I'll do it in a slightly bigger bowl because then I can use that. I forgot my glass. Right, so all we're going to do now is we're going to use something else to agitate the mix. So we know the mix is full of goodies. Now, some people have said, you see that, oh, the fish will follow that. No, we're looking for the fish to follow it in. And then people say, well, but the fact is that's exactly what you do with a flavour. So all we're doing here is with physical bits of food. And this is really good grubbins for fish. So we're going to go back round. We're going to make another mix up. So let me get my bag. So I'm just going to use Daphnia and now I'll say I make an assumption here. Something I tell people. I don't really need that in there, do I? Something I tell people never to do, but I'm doing it with circumstantial evidence. You can tell the old Bill. I used to be in the police for 15 years. You can tell that circumstantial evidence. But this is our new, and I mentioned it actually earlier, but this is my new floating pellet. And I've been guilty historically of using dog biscuit, and I sourced this because it's the best floating pellet I could find that is actually, designed for the quarry, the fish I'm after, full of goodness, full of food actually designed for fish to eat it. The fish farming market, what it doesn't do something, bring something out that fish don't eat, because then they wouldn't be in business very well. So you can do it, because the reason I'm saying circumstantial, you can do the same with dog biscuits, because before I discovered Gamma shrimp, I was just like, I was getting dog biscuits, and I was putting quite a lot of powder to because obviously a dog biscuit's big, and again it would do exactly the same thing. That's all the pellet all over the table. So you'd have to muck around with how much you would put in and things like that. So what you're going to do, and I do this with zig rig fishing as well. So around my stone, I wrap it, and then all of this stuff is coming up around my, and that's really when I started really mucking around with it. So I was trying to get bait up on my zig rig bait. So, right, let's add a bit of water to that, and so we can all see together. This is a new pellet to the market, so this won't have ever been done. And let's see if it works. Obviously, like I say, you'd have to muck around with it a bit to get the right ratio of mix to pellet. One of the things I would try as well is actually to put the pellet briefly into one of those electric grinders. Now, don't do what I've done before, and I put frozen ballies in one once, and that smashed it to pieces. But I should imagine these will grind down quite quickly. So just because it's a third of the, it's broken into 3 bits, each of those bits will float as well. So it'll just probably wrap a bit better, because obviously they're quite big. But the thing is, you can do this, obviously, I always say and you probably don't know, but the method mix is a ground bait. Method mix is just a name, isn't it? It's just a term. What does it actually mean? It's the strategy of fishing the method, but it doesn't discuss the ingredients. So I don't know how many of those I've got in there. All right, so this is real trial and error, folks. And this is the other rig I mentioned earlier. I fished 2 rigs. It's my Steam Link LQ rig. So I stuck my finger already. So again, you get that stiff. I wish I could suss out what I'm doing here with the camera. So again, Steam Link, I pop it up if I want a bit of shot at there. And to be quite honest, I haven't put a bit of shot on here, so this is going to be, let me just find that, because that will be horribly wrong. Let me just get, because I put pop up on there and not put a little bit of shot. So let's see if I can find one. I'm trying to get a bit better, so I've had a good clear up round here, but I did have my little tackle box. I don't take a lot fishing with me, to be quite honest. Really hardly take anything fishing. I've learned the hard way taken all this stuff with me. Sue, you know all about that. So just if you don't know how to use Steam Link, like I say, you need that rotation, quick rotation. Steam Link's very, very fine. So then all I do is I get one of our little non-toxic shots. I'm really not worried about the colour. Let me try and make sure you can see this, folks. And all you do is drag it down to where the coating ends. Make sure you push it on the coating. You can use a pair of, I've made a right, no, I have done it. And so you'll see what happens, but that's non-toxic, which is, and I've always found it easier. Some people use putty and things like that, and obviously we do a non-toxic putty, but I've always been, they're perfect, they're the perfect weight, again, by default to be fair, to take one of my 14mm pop-ups, or, I'm making a bit of a mess here, folks. I've got this stuff all over. I'm glad Tinny's not here. I'll get Charlie to hoover up. So again, I would really press. I haven't really pressed this down. So again, we're just going to see what happens. Obviously, it's a totally different rig. So now what we've got is one shot out already, and there's not loads in there because there's loads still in the pot. So if we watch again, obviously there's some maggot you see coming out there anyway, and again that's got a skeleton which contains air, so therefore it will float. But what we're looking for here, and they will come out because they're floaters, is basically that, and really because they're such, you know, like really floaty things, it should really, if you can get enough in there. But what I will probably be doing, as I say, is crushing that up, you know, so I can whack more in with the mix. But like I say, just think about it. And it's one of the mistakes I've made, and as I've always said, every day is a school day. If you're surface fishing, why don't you use a bait that's dedicated for the job? And that's what these are, you know, so it makes perfect sense. I went out, found something, found you know, the best I could find, and yeah, so that's, and because they're actually designed for fish, why haven't I been using them? You know, it's a big question. I'm old and I've been doing this for a long time. So yeah, very happy now that we've got in our armoury something of the quality, the food quality, and the attractant that's you know, you can get off it. Right, here we go. Right, I've missed some questions. Let me go back. Who's the old man is here? He was here before you. Orders and floaty plate yesterday with the rest. Yeah, it's very breezy. I'm thinking, oh, I'm mixed casting my method mix today, as long as shrink didn't work, those still blank. Come on, Les, you've caught plenty of fish down here, so you can't blame yourself. It's just fishing. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, or on the wrong bait, or whatever, you're always going to be up against it. Oh, I just saw something out the corner of my eye fly out there. I'm thinking down session on the river. It's about time you did, Mr. Shaw. Ordered some flame pellet. Right, hang on a second. I'm getting down there. Paul Billcock. I sometimes do it in reverse. In a solid bag, I put the floaters and a few sinking pellets and throw it out, so when the bag dissolves, the pellets sink. Yeah, you can do so much. If you really think about it, there's so many things you do. What you don't want to do is just carry on the same thing. Hi Colin White, how you doing? Somebody's saying I find putty a bit rubbish, sticks to everything. Yeah, it's not my, you know, I did go out and source a very good quality putty, but no, I find those shots so easy. And then to be fair, then I can just literally take the shot off and jobs are good, and I'm back fishing on the bottom. If I just go back round here so you can see where we've ended up there. Is that kind of a bit blurry? Where's my towel? Let me try and... So yeah, so all I've got now is a pile of food sat right round my bait. And so if I was to go in and say a fish moves in, you can quickly see all the small fish are there agitating it. And that's what I love about it. But ultimately, it's all about the rig and the ingredients and being unobtrusive. Because you can see that, you can go, oh, I can see that, it's really big. Yeah, but it's just a stone. It's a natural stone from a British quarry. So, like I say, just think about it. In essence, as I say, I believe I'm freelining because all I've done is attach that as a weight. I don't fish the bolt rig effect, as many do. That's not my way of fishing. I fish running. But if you were sat next to me catching fish after fish on a different setup, I'd be swapping straight away over to it. So I'm not that daft. But so that's the other option you've got. You know, like I say, you can agitate it. The gamma shrimp is, I suppose, you know, because you could cram so much in there, it's more of a, you know, a beast. So, yeah, 2 great rigs there. What I call my weed rig, because when I fish the other rig, that's, you know, the little braid rig there, I will, not stupid weed, but I will cast that straight into the weed. And I'm leaving like a meteor trail of food. X marks the spot, and I'm catching fish, and you think, how on earth have they found that in all amongst that? And like I say, now we have the different option there, and also it's good. I mean, I've caught fish off the surface every month of the winter, even when it's been ice and snow. So don't ever think, you know, if this is coming up, even in the winter, still watch the surface. There's a lot of belief that fish are only on the deck. Well, you know, they could be there, and they could go there or there. You know, and a lot of time they are just underneath the water. And because you can't see them, you don't realise, and your bait's on the bottom. So by doing that, you can then start watching around your swim to see if those floaters are actually, you know, creating any reaction. Because I say, never ever think you won't catch off the surface in the winter. Because I promise you, they will. They will. They just don't seem to be as obvious as they do in the summer. So yeah, fish the levels, and obviously with the zig rig you can do that. But like I say, this gives kind of a bit of an indicator. If you're fishing with those and they're flopping around in your swim, and you suddenly start seeing fish get on the surface gear, you will be really, really surprised. Where are we going? So, by adding the 30 pellet method mix, are you feeding to catch on the bottom and surface at the same time? Sorry, Steve, and I've kind of answered that question as well. I mean, you know, that's what it's saying. It's, you know, it has those benefits, you know, to break up the mix and get everything going, and it has that benefit that it will be, you know, you'll be able to see if there's any indication. The main reason I'm using it, because it's a food source for the carp. You know, this is proper stuff. This is not a dog biscuit. This is a proper pellet. It just happens to float. And then obviously the thing I'm trying to do is trying to get this to break down, because I don't want it just sat there, not doing a great deal. I want it to explode. I want all these bits to come off and be going around, because at the end of the day, this is like my fire, and I want my fire to burn strong. And that's how I do it. And say, obviously, gamma shrimp, God, they look like depth charges going the wrong way. So they do anything. What? Sorry, that's what I meant, Pop. Yes, Steve. Yeah. Like I say, you've got that option. And I do, like I say, especially, and I've done it with dog biscuits and gamma shrimp when I'm fishing a zig rig. So, because this is just coming up to the surface, it's coming up to where your zig rig is. So, you know, instead of baiting down the bottom, you're actually coming up, and it can be really, really, really successful. You know, you just got to think outside the box. But again, going back to the whole thing, and what a lot of people don't, and that's including fisheries, and you know, I've had the fish kill, and realised a lot of the stuff out there shouldn't be going into watercourses. So we know everything in there is actually made for the fish, and if not the fish, the biomass. And as a fishery owner, it's all about that water quality. And if the fish aren't eating this stuff, we know the invertebrate life will eat it. So in essence, you know, I see this many a time, you're kind of fertilizing all of the invertebrate life because they're eating it. If they're healthier, there's healthier food source for the fish to eat. So it's kind of win-win. That's where I am. You know, I want to catch lots of fish. I want to fish, you know, and innovate. You know, it's that saying, isn't it? If you keep on doing the same thing time and time again, expecting a different result, it's the first sign of madness. So that's why I'd rather look at something in the industry and say, well, where did that come from? And so many times I've gone back to it. It's just somebody said it. And that, then you go past that and, you know, why would I expect a fish to eat something that's not food? And I fish definitely, without a shadow of doubt, on, baits that have not been food source to my detriment and to possibly the fisheries detriment, and I'm all focused on the environment and water quality. Right, so I've gone past my hour. I do apologise for the pathetic efforts, so I won't put the prize, but somebody has won, because I'm going to have to get the boy down. He's up there on his computer blowing zombies up, and he can come and clear this mess up. The youth of today. So somebody, and I've got it here, is going to win the hanger set, the grips, the catfish rigs, and that person, a huge drum roll, is, and this will be back to front. How's he done it? Larry Walsh. So I know you're reading this all the wrong way, but yes, Larry Walsh, if you're still here, congratulations, you have won all the goodies. So what you need to do now, Larry, is where you sent yes to, send me again your name and address, postcode, and I will get that off to you this week. So congratulations, Larry. Sorry, Lee. Lee Kelly is not the winner. You won a couple of weeks ago. Did you get those hooks yet, Lee? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, folks, let me come back. Everything's like I say. So we'll just go back to that one because it's broken down a little bit more. And so hopefully, you know, you can gauge what I'm saying. Without this being an ingredient, which is, you know, an actual food source for a fish, I think, you know, you're on a hiding to nowhere a lot of times. You know, people are using a method mix and they don't know what's in it. So at least we know this is all fish food and it's all designed for fish, and therefore it's got all the minerals, all the different attractions that you want in there. So that's, yeah, a good way of fishing, folks. If you haven't done it before, I promise you it works. So yes, there you go. No, not yet, Pat. I've got them. Yeah, we're having a nightmare with mail. I do apologise. British state of British Royal Mail is very, very disappointing. Right, folks. Well, that's it. Another Sunday slot. Next week, I will be at the team page, and I think the following week we'll be trying to do it from Lequy, which will be on this page, the main Pallatrax Facebook page. So as always, thanks for all the support. Thanks for so many of you popping in and keeping me company on a Sunday evening. And I say, anybody interested in joining Team Pallatrax, it's just a big community of friendly people there to help. We don't have any trolls or anything like that. There's discounts, there's all kinds of stuff going on there. Competitions I run every week, and every now and again I feel a bit generous and do an extra competition. So please feel free to join. It's a nice place to be, lots of friendly anglers, and all of the same mindset, to be quite honest. So it's a real cool place. And all you got to do is go onto my main website, pallatrax.co.uk. There's a section there that says team. It's free to join, and yeah, it's just a great initiative, and it's just, well, it's well over 3,000 of us now, so it's you know, and all over the place. And that's what I love about it. You know, we've got like Galen and Dan and Vince and Brendan over in Canada. We've got Andre now in Slovakia. We've got all these different people all over the world, kind of, you know, all the folks over in Thailand now. So yeah, it's a good place to be. So I'm not selling because it's free. It's literally just a nice club. That was what it's always been designed to do, to bring what is now within fishing quite a it can be for some quite a lonely place, especially carp fishing. You know, you live in that little domain. So we're trying to get people to, and they do. They're meeting each other, they're making friends, they're going fishing and all those kind of things. So it's all happy days. Right. Anyway, thanks for everything. Thanks for your time. And any questions, you know, you can always reach me, either phoning me at the office or pinging me a message or an email. And I will see you on here in a couple of weeks' time. And it will be from the banks of the wonderful Lequy. So good evening, folks. Take care. Stay safe.